Hello, and welcome to another amazing episode of Kiva's Place, the Kiva Murdoch Show and podcast. I want to apologize. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, so that's why you see my green screen behind me. For some reason, my camera decided to die right before we came on air, but nevertheless, I believe that the devil is mad because there is a message in what we're going to talk about tonight. So he will not get the victory. We're going to conquer and push through. And I believe that tonight's show is going to be powerful and is going to impact and change the trajectory of somebody's life. Come on, somebody. So, without further ado, we're going to welcome you to the show. After our brief introduction, we're going to be talking about self-sabotage and how can we overcome being our own worst enemies. Come on, we've all been there and we know exactly how it is to be so hard on ourselves to where we do not acknowledge what we have going on in our lives. So stay tuned. You know what we do every Thursday night. Come on and make yourself comfortable. Grab your favorite drink, sit back and enjoy the ride because you're finally at home at Keeper's Place. We are a judge-free zone, and we're going to have a candid conversation tonight. Before I play our intro, if you want to be included in this broadcast tonight, just send me a quick message on Messenger. You can reach me at Kiva Lernice Murdaugh on Facebook, or you can get on the show's page at Keeper's Place and say, I want to be included in the broadcast so we can talk about self-sabotage tonight. So if you want to be included in the broadcast, let me know in Messenger and I will send you the link. So don't go anywhere, family. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Keeper's Place, the Keeper Murdoch Show and podcast. We hope that by the end of our show, you're left feeling empowered, motivated, and connected. So come on in the room, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy the ride because you're finally at home at Keeper's Place. Now give it up for our host and producer, Coach Kiva Lernice Murdaugh.
Yes, fam. Welcome back to Kiva's Place, the Kiva Murdoch Show and podcast. So, as I mentioned to you before our introduction, we're going to be talking about a very important topic on tonight: self sabotage. Excuse me. And why do we consider ourselves our worst enemy? We are so hard on ourselves. It really doesn't matter what's going on in our lives. We really have those individuals that, number one, do not give yourself enough credit. Number two, do not realize your potential in everything that you have going on. And number three, you are your worst critic. We're so hard on ourselves and we do not give ourselves the right to be human and also the space to make mistakes and learn from those. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Before we jump into our topic, I want to just bring you up to par on a little bit of what we have going on. Stay tuned because we will be dropping information about a wonderful anthology project that I'm super proud to be a participant of with the visionary leader Jacqueline Kabai Harrison. We will be dropping more information about that, and it's targeted towards women in leadership positions or just women who are wanting to understand and learn how to branch out as the innate leader that they are. So I'm super excited about this project. I'm very selective in the projects that I connect and associate myself with. So to be a part of this project with some phenomenal, strong, independent, educated, courageous, and strong women. So I'm super excited to be part of that plethora of women on this project. So stay tuned. I want you to grab your copy, okay? So stay tuned for more information about that. Also, we are looking for additional guests for this season. We have some spots that have become open. So if you are looking to just put your business and your brand and your products and services before the masses, if you're looking to gain more exposure, credibility, to increase your profitability, and you want to be a part of the Keever's Place, the Keever Murdoch Show and podcast, definitely reach out to us. I would drop that link so that you can go ahead and book your consultation to see if you would be a great fit for our show. So I will go ahead and drop that in the comments. So definitely take advantage of that opportunity. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into our topic tonight. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about self sabotage. And are you your own worst enemy? That is a personal question that really requires some self reflection, right? And when we are just looking back and being honest, and that's the thing about understanding if you are your own worst enemy is number one, you have to acknowledge it, right? You have to be truthful with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror. You really have to dig deep and find out, is there anything that I do within myself, within my life, within my goals, within my business? Is there truly anything that I'm doing that would sabotage what I'm trying to accomplish? And it's very easy to miss, right? And it's very easy to not recognize within yourself if you are your own worst enemy. And sometimes it does require for somebody else to look inside you, or to look and to overlook what you have going on, to point out some of those issues that we're facing and some of the harshest things that we do to tear ourselves down. So I really want you to just take this opportunity to be honest with yourself, to do some self reflection, to be self aware, so that if you do recognize that this is something that you need to work on within yourself, you can actually do so. Okay. So let's first of all define what self sabotage is. So, psychology today defines self sabotage as the behavior that creates problems in daily life and interferes with long-standing goals. It's a behavior. And what's a behavior? A behavior is something that we all learned. You learned certain behaviors. And whatever reason that has caused you to adapt this very destructive behavior, I encourage you to recognize it and start working on shifting and just changing the trajectory of your life. And I'm going to give you some practical things that you can do later on in this broadcast where you can start implementing these changes today. But understand that when you are self sabotaging yourself, it's a behavior, and a behavior is something that can be corrected. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of what you have going on. It's not the end of you. It's a behavior that you have to recognize that it needs to change and start implementing certain things within your life to do just that. So you can change the focus, right? Some examples of the way that we self sabotage. Number one is procrastination, right? That's our biggest enemy that we're always dealing with when it comes to ourselves. We procrastinate, put off things that we know we need to go ahead and knock out. And I'm going to be honest, that's something that I still struggle with every day. It's an everyday battle, right? Because I juggle so many things in my life, right? Have a career, have a family, have multiple businesses. So it's very easy to just put things on the back burner until the deadline, and sometimes a little bit beyond the deadline. But it's a behavior that we have to recognize that if we are not careful, it can sabotage the things that we're trying to accomplish in our businesses or our personal life. Even relationships, right? We can sabotage those certain relationships. And if we put things off, And let's be honest, sometimes there are certain things that we just don't want to address in relationships, right? For whatever reason, whether it's too painful, whether it's uncomfortable to talk about, those are some issues that if we are not careful, we can put them off until things have progressed so badly. So sometimes it's very hard to bounce back from, right? So procrastination, that's one of those behaviors that we need to be mindful and cognizant of so we can start to recognize it and stop it in its tracks. Sometimes we use self medication as a way of sabotage. We can sabotage ourselves with certain drugs, whether that's illegal drugs or prescription. Too much of anything and overindulgence of anything can become an issue. And if you're not careful, it could also lead to us not being our best self, right? So, self medicating is one of those things that if you aren't careful, it can hold you back. Alcohol, comfort eating, right? When we are not feeling ourselves, a lot of us indulge in that alcohol. We indulge in that comfort food. We indulge in that junk food. We indulge in so many other things to try to get our mind off of us not feeling our optimal best. Self injury, cutting yourself, that's another learned behavior that we have to be careful of in order to not self sabotage ourselves. So, here are some practical things that we can do to overcome self sabotage, right? Change your mindset. Number one, I'm a firm believer that everything happens where? With our mind first, right? Proverbs 23:7. If you are somebody that believes in the Bible, Proverbs 23:7 tells us that as a man thinks, so he is, right? So everything that we have going on, it starts with our mind, right? So it's very important for us to recognize those deficits that's in our life and also um, focus our thoughts on positive things because guess what? Your thoughts will drive how you feel, your thoughts will drive your mood, your thoughts can influence your day, right? If you get up in the morning with negative thoughts, guess what? You're going to have a negative day. Nothing in your day is going to go right, right? Everything going on around you is just going to fall. And you're just going to be in a very foul mood throughout the day, right? Because you've already conditioned your mind to be in that negative space. So if you wake up in the morning and just speak those words of affirmation over yourself, you know what? I'm going to have a great day today. Despite what goes on around me, I'm going to make sure that it's a positive day and nothing is going to disrupt the flow of my energy. If you have that mindset before you even step outside of your door, guess what? Guess what? Because you're already conditioning your mind to have a great day. Come on, somebody. So, no matter what goes on around you, you won't be bothered. You will not be phased. You will not be moved, as the old folks used to say, right? Because you're already ready for it. Because your mind is saying, hey, you know what? No matter how many darts come facing me, I'm ready. And I'm going to always project my best self forward because I'm starting out in that way. So start to change your mindset, right? Start to think positively. Start to move forward with that positive energy, right? And if you start to do that, you will notice that your day is just coming along a whole lot better, right? You're not so easily phased on everything that's going on around you. And then you will also start to notice that the better you feel, the better day that you have, there may not be as many opportunities for you to downplay yourself, right? There may not be that many opportunities for you to be so negative about the things that may not be going perfect in your life. So take that opportunity to lead with a positive mindset first. It's very, very important. And it's ideal. And it's the first step in order for you to take that positive positive step into overcoming that self-sabotage. The second thing is don't be so hard on yourself. We are our biggest critics, right? How many of us are guilty of not being able to take a simple compliment, right? You may look very nice today, and if somebody pays you a compliment, you are the first one to tear yourself down. Oh, with this old thing, or it will flow better if I could drop a little 10, 15 pounds, this and that. Just cannot bask in the moment of somebody giving you praise because you know we, and it's sad because sometimes we get so in the habit of tearing ourselves down because we're trying to beat other people to the punch. Where do we learn such negative behavior, right? Don't be so hard on yourselves. Cut yourself some slack. We are all human. We're not perfect. And just be open to making mistakes, right? Because we are aiming to be better every day. We're not perfect. So cut yourself some slack. And the thing about mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes, right? Because mistakes an opportunity for us to learn. It's an opportunity for us to grow, right? The issue is not making mistakes, right? It's how we bounce back from those mistakes. It's what have we learned in that moment in making those mistakes? Have we recognized the opportunity to grow in the midst of that mistake? So I don't want anybody to leave this broadcast tonight thinking everything has to be perfect at all moments, at all times. Give yourself a break. It's okay. Breathe. Embrace those moments. And if it's those moments that we need to work on, acknowledge those. Acknowledge those mistakes, right? And it's so hard for some people to say, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. I don't have it all together, right? But I want to encourage you to just take those opportunities, acknowledge them, stand in them because it's your truth. And if there's an opportunity for you to learn from it, learn from it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat you up enough. You do not need to be added into the mix. Okay? So don't aim for perfection because usually when we're aiming for perfection, guess what? It's driven from fear. It's that fear of not being accepted. It's the fear of being afraid you will look incompetent or look stupid. It's that fear of being judged. That's what that drive for perfection, excuse me, is usually driven from. It's driven from fear. It's driven from fear. So I need you to acknowledge that, right? And it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. That's okay, right? The skill is what can we do to be better individuals, to lead better lives, to run better businesses. It's that aim to be better, but not to strive to be perfect. Learn from those mistakes and don't strive for perfection. Trust yourself, right? One another practical thing that we can do to limit procrastination, because we've already established that that's one of the major things that we do to self-sabotage ourselves is procrastination. So how can we overcome that spirit of procrastination? By setting those smart goals. It's very important to set those goals that are specific goals that are measurable, that are achievable, that are relevant to where you are wanting to go and what you're wanting to accomplish. And it has to be time bonded, right? How many times do we say, I want to lose weight? right? But we don't establish any of these goals. We don't establish it in a way for it to be successful, right? So if that's one of your goals, I don't know, but that's just one that I hear so often. But if that's one of your goals, let's be specific, because to say I want to lose weight, that's very broad, that's very vague, right? Okay, do you want to set your mind to where you want to lose 1 pound? You want to lose 10 pounds? You want to lose 100 pounds? You need to be more specific in that goal setting, right? So establish how many of those pounds you want to lose, right? And you want to give yourself a measurable and an achievable goal. And sometimes it's not by pounds. Maybe it's something you just want to, work towards fitting into, or what have you. You just want to make those goals to be very specific and measurable. You want to make it achievable. You don't want to set an unrealistic goal, right? I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 10 days. Okay, it may be achievable, but you may lose your life in the process or get very, very ill in the process. It's not practical, it's not realistic, right? So you want to make those goals achievable and realistic, and you want to put a time frame on it that's going to be achievable, where you're not going to sabotage yourself to fail, right? So, and that was just one example. But one way to avoid that procrastination is to set those smart, realistic goals and write them down, right? And also don't try to accomplish everything at one time. One of the ways of setting those smart goals is to also prioritize what is the most urgent, pressing things that you need to tend to right away. Everything else can wait, right? So it's about setting those smart goals, but also prioritizing, being very strategic in how you prioritize those goals. And that will also make a huge difference in decreasing the procrastination in your life and your business, okay? Also, self sabotage. When we are not taking care of ourselves, guess what? We are self sabotaging ourselves. Self care is essential. It's important for you to take care of yourself, because guess what? You are human, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. You just cannot do it. Want to just keep running and running and running and running and running, almost to the point to where we have nothing left. We're operating on fumes, okay? The tank is empty. So take care of yourself. Take those moments to just think about yourself. Take yourself out. Take yourself to the spa. Get your nails done. Sit in the car. Sometimes when I get home, that me time is just me sitting in my car and getting just that little bit of peace before I have to walk inside the house, right? That's a moment for me to take care of my mental health, right? Because I'm taking that few minutes, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes I sit in there for 30 minutes, right? Because I feel like I need that. And that's okay, because I don't want to self sabotage myself to where I'm always running, running, running to where, hey, I don't take care of Kiva first. So be selfish sometimes, right? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to think about yourself. And it's also important for you to learn to develop the skill to say no. Sometimes it's necessary for you to say, no, I can't do that for you right now. No, it's not conducive for me to do this for you, because if I do, it's going to mess with my mental health. It's going to conflict with something else I may have going on. It's okay to set those boundaries, because their boundaries are healthy. Boundaries are healthy. Say it with me. Boundaries are healthy and it's needed, right? So take care of yourself. It's important. And last but not least, accept all of you. Accept all of you. We are our biggest critic, right? And we just give ourselves the hardest time. And it's so easy to just recognize everything that we have going on that's wrong, right? To where the things that we have going right, we don't acknowledge them. We don't acknowledge our wins. We don't see that we just closed the biggest deal, right? We see that, you know, the other deals fell apart. The ones that we wanted so hard, we were working so hard with. We stay stuck on that deal that didn't make it to where we don't acknowledge, hey, but the other one did. So acknowledge those things that may not be perfect in your life. Accept you, flaws and all. Flaws and all. And when you can learn to love every part of you, you can teach others how to love you too, right? You can't teach somebody something that you don't know, right? And sometimes we have those ones that just will not and cannot love themselves. So, in the midst of being just not being able to love themselves, they self sabotage everything that goes on in their life. They self sabotage those relationships. They self sabotage just everything, because they can't love who they are first. So love every aspect of you, flaws and all. And if there's something about you that you don't like, guess what? Change it. Change it. If it's something that can be changed, change it. Set those goals, set those priorities, and make it a priority in your life and do something about it. If it's something that you can't change, hey, guess what? Learn to live with it. When I turned 40, just something in me just clicked. And I learned to accept everything about me. What you see is what you get, right? And I make no apologies for it. None. So I've learned to love Kiever, flaws and all. And if you can't accept that, then that's your personal problem. But there's nothing wrong with me. So you have to be able to develop that mindset that you are awesome and you are amazing and you are worthy and you are loved, right? And if you don't have anybody speaking those things into your life, guess what? Speak it to yourself. Speak it to yourself. Speak over your. It's so important. All right, family. I hope you have enjoyed our broadcast tonight. And I hope you have taken just some simple, practical tips and things you can implement right now today to recognize those self sabotaging behaviors. And you can implement those practical things that I've gone over tonight, that you can start to recognize it, acknowledge it, and start to change the trajectory of your life. So I hope you have found this broadcast to be helpful. Please share it if you have. Thank you for watching. For China, thank you. I see you chiming in. Thank you, Queen. I greatly appreciate you. So, listen, we're going to have these moments where we are getting up close and personal this season. I told y'all, you're going to be hearing from me more one on one this season. Yes, we're still a platform for guests. So you're still more than welcome to just come in and share your story, your testimony, your book projects, your products, your services, anything that you have going on. If you want to share, you're more than welcome. But you're also going to experience some more up close and personal conversations. So things that I feel that's been leading on my heart that we need to talk about. We need to address, and we need to not only talk about it, but be able to be honest with ourselves and put things into place, give you practical ideas in what you can do to start moving forward in your life, in relationships, and in business. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you decided to stop by Kiva's Place, and I hope to see you next week. Next Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be doing it all over again. So until then, family, peace and blessings. I love y'all much. Good night.
Thank you for watching Kiva's Place, the Kiva Murdoch Show and Podcast. Tune in every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Kiva's Place. To be a guest on our show, text the word guest to 803-368-3030 or visit us at tinyurl.com/Kiva's Place Book. And watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire as we're broadcasting in more than 60 million homes worldwide. Realizing Your Potential LLC presents Born to Lead, Awakening the Leader Within. This anthology brings together women that have overcome hardships in their lives and have managed not only to survive, but thrive. Their stories focus on resiliency, adaptability, and strength, acknowledging the innate strength and leadership qualities in African American women. Coming up on Kiva's Place, the Kiva Murdoch Show and Podcast.